Are you looking to improve your trading skills? Well, if that's the case, you're going to love today's Equity Empire Chart Analysis session. My name is John McHugh. I'm a former Wall Street analyst, hedge fund manager, and independent trader for the better part of 20 years. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the wisdom of one of the greatest investors and traders of all time, George Soros. And George is famous for saying that once a trend is established, it tends to persist and to run its full course. Now, we're going to be taking that wisdom and applying it to the chart on NuScale Power Corporation, symbol SMR, to see if we can set up a trade that has just a little bit of risk and a lot of reward potential. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to assess the trend. And you don't need to be a nuclear scientist to recognize that NuScale Power is in an uptrend. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time assessing the trend. But we are going to do one thing, which is identify the most recent swing low, which is the controlling swing low. And that is this point right here. And SMR will still be in an uptrend as long as price stays above the controlling swing low or this blue dotted line. So what we'll do to set up a trade would be to assume that SMR will stay in an uptrend as long as we stay above that blue line. So we'll look for a support level that's above the blue dotted line. And there are a couple support levels to consider. There is a support level right here in the 35.62 to 33.05 price range. And there's another support level just below that in the 32.09 to 29.76 price range. So two support levels to consider for either a quick bounce trade or a lower entry price for a longer term position. So once again, game plan, identify a trend and just assume it's going to continue to persist and run its full course. Now we don't know, SMR is definitely an uptrend. We don't know how much higher it's going to go. So the game plan would be waiting for a pullback. If we get one, wait for a pullback into one of these support levels. Take a little bit of risk for the potential of much greater reward. So the way to construct a trade would be, if you want to go for the aggressive entry, would be to place a buy limit order at 35.62, protective stop just below 33.05, target. There is no resistance, technical resistance in the chart to be concerned about at this point. So you could either set your target at some reward to risk ratio that you would like to see, or simply don't have a target and just trail your stop after entry. Okay, but in this case, this would have about a 4-to-1 reward to risk ratio. In other words, for every $100 worth of risk you would take in this setup, the reward potential would be a little over $400. Now, if you are looking to be a little more conservative in your entry and to find a level that's got a little bit of more reward potential relative to the risk, that would be placing a buy limit order at 32.05, protective stop just below 29.76, target in the same place. Once again, you don't even need a target, but you can just set one, and that trade setup would have about a 6-to-1 reward to risk ratio if you assumed the same target. Okay, so if you were to go for the aggressive level, and you would basically be looking for a price pullback to 35.62 and to bounce off that level before heading off to all-time highs, continuing that trend higher. Okay, so that is the ideal way that that trade would play out if you wanted to go for the upper level. Once again, protective stop just below that level. You don't want to take a whole lot of risk that price slices through, and you want to have a very clearly defined amount of risk you're going to take in either one of these setups. Okay, ideally, the way the second trade, if you went for the lower level, ideally it would play out something like this. You get a more meaningful pullback to the 32.09 price level, bounce off that level before heading off to all-time highs. Okay, so two potential trade setups to consider while SMR is still in an uptrend. All right, so let's wrap up today's session, folks. Hope you enjoyed the session. I'll be back each day this week for more technical analysis. In the meantime, wishing you the best of luck in your trading and investing, and we'll see you soon.